do you plan to stay out past 8? Right? So I go. My question to that is, when I first read it, I'm like, why is that question relevant? Am I planning to stay out past 8? You've already said that I'm an essential worker. So if I want to stay out until 12 o'clock in the morning and shake my ass in the street, I have all right to do so. I am an essential worker. The law allows me to be outside. And told the kid was like, my bad, I didn't do that. Now, in white culture, they think that once you say sorry, that means it's okay. Black people understand that saying sorry don't mean shit. If I get attacked by the police and I'm like, and mind you, we'll say sorry if we're not even in the wrong. We'll be in the right and be like, yo, my bad. It was a stop sign, bro. I ain't even know mine ain't no stop sign back there. But you apologize just because you think it might help. White people go, they will do something illegal. They will have a gun, punch you in the face, steal from a store, get caught, and be like, my bad, officer. I just saw that they were stealing, so I came to steal too. I'll put it back if you want me to. Alright, I'll put it back, and they go home and they be fine. A white person a black person could be walking by the store that got robbed and be like, damn, that shit's crazy, and get attacked by the police. Just because they're next to the store that got robbed. They're not even robbing. They be like, what happened? You stole from the store. And if you say sorry, now it's an admission of guilt.
Bamboo Project Podcast starts in 3, 2, 1.
Oh.
No, I am the producer.
Oh, I thought.
3.
I thought you don't say 1 though.
2.
Put the clap on 1.
3. 2. 1.
You don't say 1.
I want to.
But now you do it.
Bamboo Project The Bamboo Project Podcast starts in 3, 2. No. The Bamboo Project Podcast starts in 3, 2.
Alright, so today is June 9th. It's 12:45 p.m. So a couple of things, we're gonna talk about. I don't like the way I said that. Either way. So I was on the right track when I started saying the date and time, and then it got a little weird. But wow, I felt mad weird for no reason, out of nowhere. As soon as I said that I'm gonna say this, I fucked me up. But regardless, right. So the podcast starting at 12:45, right? And as you know, every week the goal is to start at 10 a.m. Today we're starting at 12:45. Now the reason we're starting at 12:45 is definitely my fault, 100% my fault. I take responsibility for that because I went to bed late last night because I was trying to edit a video that I want to put up. I've been kind of listening to a song recently, and I'm like, you know what? I think it would be cool or fun to try this edit for that video. So I was doing that last night. I got excited, so I stayed up probably till like 1 o'clock, maybe. You think it was like 1?
Probably 1 is some change.
Yeah. So that bled over into the morning, and then I woke up at probably like 8:45. I normally wake up at 6:30, 7, sometimes 6, but I woke up at 8:45. So I had to eat breakfast. I had to kind of wake myself up and then just make breakfast, eat, those kind of things, then get ready for the podcast. Also, I don't know if you guys know, we now have a new camera. So one of the goals for the podcast was to get a actual camera, because if you've been listening to the podcast for the last 11 episodes, today's episode number 12, then you would know we've been shooting from multiple different cameras, whether it be an iPhone 8 Plus, an iPhone 11. We had a Sony at one time. We were using a Google Pixel to shoot. We were just using everything we could use to shoot the video, and we were having problems where it would shut off. We were having problems where just weird things would happen. There'd be no audio, the audio doesn't sync, and then the camera stops working, the batteries die, they run out of space, the cloud doesn't work. It's just mad different things that happen when you're trying to use different recording devices to shoot the podcast, right? So I'm like, Melissa over there, you look real happy over there, Melissa. See, she's looking at me. See, that's why she's looking at me on the podcast.
No.
She like, oh, listen, I'm bringing up on the podcast too why Melissa be fraternizing with the peoples. We'll talk about that later.
Where is that?
Don't worry about it. Don't scroll. Don't scroll. Don't gotta scroll. It's on. Don't worry. It's between the lines. You gotta read between the lines. So what else? Okay. So normally we'll try, or not normally, recently we've been trying to go and do the podcast or do the pictures for the podcast for the thumbnail before we start, right? That's what we've been doing the last 2 or 3 episodes. And we just got the camera 2 or 3 days ago. So, oh shit. I'm just thinking where the mic should be.
It's fine.
Yeah. Like 2 or 3 days ago, right? So it's a DSLR. It's a Panasonic GH5, and there are a lot of settings on there, like a large amount of settings. So just trying to get through everything is the first step of getting to learn something, right? You have to go and figure out what each controller or what each control does. Then once you figure out what each control does, then you have to figure out, okay, how can I use each control to get the best quality of the picture and the video for what I'm trying to do for that day or that shot or that scene, right? So right now we're just at figuring out what the controls are, where they are, how to find this thing, where to look at. It's just buttons on top of buttons. And I used to have a Canon T3i. This is how long I haven't had a DSLR in a long ass time. So I used to have that one, and I feel like whether it be the settings were just not as complicated or it's been such a long time since I've had a camera, it's just a lot of stuff. So I have the basic knowledge of how the camera works, but when it comes to finding where the buttons are, and it's a Panasonic, so it's not a Canon, so a lot of the things are going to be different. So it's like, Miss over there smiling real, she over there cheesing real cute. I don't know, what you so happy for? You look real happy.
I'm watching
She looking real cute and happy. I think because she look cute, that's why I be looking at her. Her toenails all painted. She got a smile. Her hair's out. Now I'm distracted. She distracted me. I had to put her outside or something because she distracted me. So when it comes to learning something new, you're gonna always have that curve. So we were doing the thumbnail, and I'm like, you know what? I think we should do the pictures of the thumbnail with the iPhone first, and then the one with the DSLR afterwards, because I understand that there are so many things that can happen and can go wrong. And this goes to anybody, okay? If you're doing something new, no matter what it is, if you're adding a new component to something, you have to understand that there will always be a learning curve, no matter what it is. If you're starting a team and you add a new person, you have to understand their personality traits. I'm thinking about basketball, how their height plays in, how they like to play basketball. All of those different type of things come into play when you add a new variable, because I'll even go back to the camera, right? So let's say for today we wanted to use a DSLR to shoot the thumbnail, right? We got to figure out the crop sensor, because you got to figure out how close should I be when I take the picture. Do I zoom in? Do I zoom out? Do I use manual or non-manual? Do I turn exposure up? Do I turn the aperture up or down? Do I do all these things? Now, once you figure out just what settings to get the camera on, now you got to figure out, okay, how should I pose? Where should I stand? Where's the best lighting? How's the camera pickup light? And it's all of these things come into play, when before you had an iPhone, you could just go, all right, I use this camera every day. I know, click this right here, press this button or tap on a person's face. That means that the exposure will go up or the exposure will go down. You add a DSLR in, it's a whole different ball game. Like, it's a whole different thing, right? So I decided, let's try and do the iPhone first and the DSLR second. And we did it with the iPhone, and we got some good ones, but I think we can get better ones with the DSLR once we know how to use it properly. But again, this is our first day really getting into it. Melissa shot a video. How many videos you shot yesterday? She shot multiple videos yesterday, so she's more familiar with the camera than I am. So she's been using it all of yesterday. So there's a lot of settings and things just to learn on the camera in itself. So that's how this morning went. Like I said, we started a little bit late, which is, I'm not really too mad because I don't feel like anything really bad happened that caused us to start late. It was just one of those situations where I just woke up late. We just kind of started late, and then we also changed the settings up. Also, again, when it comes to adding a new variable, we got to figure out where the camera should be. How much of the background does it pick up? What does it blur out? Why is the color not right? So all these things keep coming into play, as opposed to previous episodes where we would just be like, all right, put the pixel there. Good, we're good to go sit down and do the rest of the thing. There's not that many settings to really work about. Then you got to also worry about, like, Is it going to be 24 frames per second? Is it going to be in 6K? Because you're recording in 6K, and now it's going to be a video that's 6 minutes that's now 45 gigabytes. So I'm just saying this for all the people that understand that whenever you're in a situation, if you're running a company or if you're the man, if you're anything that you have to oversee something else, just whether it be your life or your job or your business, and you add something new, understand there will be a learning curve to it. Just understand that. So that was what I want to talk about with that. Also, me and Melissa are back together. She's my girlfriend. You know, I have a girlfriend now, so I'm off the market, ladies. I know y'all been looking at me do this podcast like, oh my God, I wish he was my man, right? But I'm sorry, I can't. It's not gonna happen because I'm with my girlfriend, who I hope we get married. You know, I think that would be cool if we get married. I think that'd be kind of cool, right? So she's making some sounds. What was the sounds for?
It would be cool.
It would be cool because it's like, listen, it's like. I like it. I feel like it's not solidified that we're gonna get married yet, right? But I want to get married, and I would like to get married because I feel like our future would be well together if we were married. Do you disagree?
Yes, I agree.
Okay. Why do you make faces like you don't agree?
Because I'm like, what do you mean it's not solidified? What do you mean?
I mean, because at the end of the day, you be doing some crazy stuff. I feel like you be doing this. I'll be like, what you doing? What is this? What is that? What is this? What is that? What is this? So.
That's exactly how you
yes. That exactly. That's how I be feeling. So I'm like I said, I want to marry Melissa, right? And I don't know Melissa wants to marry me. That's what I think the problem is. I think Melissa don't know if she wants to marry me. And I think that is what will prevent us from getting married. Because Melissa might be doing some wild shit. Because, you know, here's the thing. Here's what girls are going to say. She's going to be like, oh, of course I want to marry you, right? But then I'm going to come in the house and it won't be clean. So I was like, do you really want to marry me? Like, how much? like, do you really?
Y'all heard that, right? Y'all heard that, right?
Do you really want to get married?
As long as y'all heard that. That's the only thing you came up with.
Like, how much do you really want to get married? Like, I don't think you're taking it seriously enough. I think you say you want to, but I came home and it's like...
Cleaning is just not my voice.
But the tissue on the floor, there's a napkin on the counter. You know, it's like...
You hear what you said to you?
I'm just saying, things like this happen, you decide do you want to get married or not. So that's that. We're back together. So actually what happened with that was I had told myself I was going to wait 3 months. So we actually been together for since May, June.
February.
No, back together.
Oh, back together.
May 29th. Somewhere around that time. So about a week or two from now back, right? Because I told myself I was going to wait 3 months to see if Melissa would grow without me having to push her. Because in that time, I told myself I'm not going to push her. I'm not going to tell her to do anything because I have this ideology that if you try to push people to do something, they don't do it. I actually saw an interesting quote recently where the guy said that, I'm paraphrasing, but if you force somebody to change, all they're going to be doing is acting, and you won't actually get change until you inspire somebody to want to change. And that falls in line with my thoughts of you can't make anybody do anything. They have to want to do it themselves. The only way, and even still, it's not making somebody do something, it would be using fear. And fear is still that same person deciding, I don't want this outcome that this person has instilled in me, so I'm going to do what they want me to do. But at the end of the day, you're still making that choice to do that thing. So I didn't want to kind of infringe on her growth by having her think we would get back together, because I wanted her to kind of approach it as if she was single and how she would kind of want to grow for herself as opposed to growing for me. And it's really complicated because we're still together. She wants to be with me, so it's kind of intermingled. But I want to do as much as I can to kind of remove myself from that situation and just let her do things by herself and not having to kind of micromanage and things like that. And also I put a 3-month period in there because I also know that the minute that she starts doing something that's positive or things that I like, I'm going to want to get back with her. So I'm like, okay, I have to have that 3-month rule in place because I know if I don't have it in my head set, then 3 weeks will go by and I'll be like, I'm trying to get back together. Like, you want to date or something? So, I feel like that's another reason I had a 3-month rule in place. So I am happy that we're back together. Funny enough, I feel like the day after I asked her to go back out with me, she was acting real funky. I feel like it was like the day after.
What are you talking about?
I feel like the day after you was doing something. It was
Like
something that
what?
I don't remember. It was something like, cause I was like, did I make the right choice? I'm like, did I really make the right choice? I'm like, I think I did. I'm like, I think I did.
What did I do?
I don't know. You be doing something every day. You probably even put something away. I don't know. Something like that. I don't know.
You hear how little it takes? How little it takes?
Because it's more than just putting something away. It's the mindset behind putting something away. Everybody knows that's how that works.
This.
So, there's that. So we're back together. This is my girlfriend, who I love very much. And I adore her. And she's actually very beautiful. Like, she's beautiful. I'm looking at her, and I'm like, I think it's her hair. And she has these cheekbones right here, like the way she smiles right here. It'd be like kind of hard. Yeah. Maybe because you're washing your face. Yeah, that's why. I feel like you like being looked like. Yeah, it's a cute face right there. I'm taking a picture. Did I do that again? Oh, I guess it's on camera. Okay. I took a picture of her earlier. She like, oh, my beard is showing. I don't want nobody to see my beard. Yes. My jaw's mad strong.
Put my beard and my strong jaws.
She doesn't. I don't think she knows how beautiful she is. So she thinks that her jaw makes her less beautiful, even though it makes her more beautiful. Okay. I don't think she knows that because she used to having a potato head.
You couldn't just give me a compliment without negging me. You know what? Honestly, I give you that one because you went a couple minutes there.
Right, exactly. But I feel like she's not used to this, so she's like, oh my goodness, how does this work? Like what? You can see my jaw. Yes, you can see your jaw. Okay. So there's that. What else? So what I'd like to do now for the podcast is have a recap, right? And in that recap, I will go over things from the last podcast where I feel as though I may have misspoken or said something I don't agree with anymore, or I don't think that I actually elaborated and explained something or a thought that I had thoroughly. So that's what the recap is for. So the recap that we're going to go over today is oppression in basketball, right? I talked about how Gordon Hayward from the Boston Celtics, I think he's still on that team, and there's a guy who plays in Miami, is a white guy, and some people may say that they act black, right? Now, one thing I've just always wanted to say, because this is my thoughts on white people in basketball, is that for somebody to understand, I think that white people in basketball understand oppression a lot more than most other white people, because for the most part, that is the only place I know of that white people have to deal with racism, right? And I put quotes around racism because they understand that when they come to the park, everybody already assumes that they can't play basketball. That's the notion of it immediately. And that's how it is to be black. When you go somewhere, you just assume that everybody thinks that you're dumb, or people just assume that you're going to be ghetto, or you have to overachieve just to be seen as normal. So when a white guy comes in the park, everybody already says, oh, you know what? He's probably a shooter. He probably can't do nothing else but shoot the basketball. He plays fundamentally. He passes and cuts and sets screens and things like that. That's the automatic off the top preconception that we have of white people in basketball, right? So for me, playing basketball all my life, I see this, and I'll see white kids who are on the sidelines, don't get picked up. People look over them, and then when they come on the court, they get praised for doing more or less the basic stuff, right? Because we already expect them to be bad. So now, let me see, how can I say that? No, that's not even necessarily what I mean. They don't get praised for doing the basic things. Let me see. What's the best way to put this? When a white person comes on the court to play basketball, right? We already assume that they're not going to be that good. So when they do something that breaks that mindset, it goes, oh, wow, you can actually dribble. Oh, wow, you can actually you can jump high. That's crazy. And that is how it is to be black, where you're in a white area and they go, wow, I didn't know you could use words like that. What do you mean? Your dad it's not in jail? Oh my God. And it's like, these are normal things, but because the notion of the person is already below the average level of what they think a person should be, when they finally reach the average level, then somebody goes, wow, that's amazing for you, right? And I just really think that in basketball, that's very apparent. If you talk to people who play basketball, white kids who play basketball in black areas, they'll attest to this. They get overlooked all the time unless they're friends with people, and even then they still get overlooked. They automatically assume to just be able to shoot. That's it. and they're not really aggressive. We don't think they're aggressive, and then when they get aggressive, we're like, oh wow, okay, I fuck with him. And then and I think that builds character for them, and we kind of we bring them in and go, okay, you're like, we have more respect for you because you've earned that through what we thought you were before. You've broken our expectations as a white person playing basketball. So I think that's where, and I don't know if other sports are like that, because maybe football with wide receivers and running backs, but I don't know white ones that are really good because I'm not a football fan like that. But I know they're mostly quarterbacks, and I feel like quarterbacks are separated from the rest of the group of people that they play with. They're kind of seen as above the smart ones and all the other stuff. That used to be a stereotype where they would say that only whites could be the quarterback because you have to be smart to be a quarterback. So there's that. I also talked about white people, and I was trying to break down the race pyramid of how I feel that everybody is viewed, and this is only specifically to white and black people, how they're viewed by other people, right? So I think that white people, black people see privilege in white people, right? And they like to say, I don't know what privilege you're talking about. What privilege, huh? What privilege? What do you mean privilege, right? But then how we see them is how they see Jeff Bezos and how they see billionaires. They feel like, oh, he can get away with this, and he can do that, and he can do this, and those other type of things, right? And I think that for us, we see these things within a regular white person, but they don't see it amongst themselves. They only see it when they see somebody who's above them, which would be a billionaire, and they go, why is he able to do these things? Why? That's not fair. It's because of his money, even though he actually worked hard for those things. Jeff Bezos particularly. So that's how the race pyramid works for that. I feel like, let me see. It comes down to class, and class comes above race. And that is why I think black people are looked down upon for the most part, is because we don't have the, not class, privilege. We don't have the money or the privilege, right? And with those two things, you'll get the class, quotations, that will be accepted amongst white people. And there's certain things that they feel like you should do. You should put your fork like this. You should act like that. You should wear your clothes like this. And you only get that information if you're among people who are like that. So I won't know where to put my fork and my knife if I don't go to school for that, if I don't have my teacher tell me that, if I don't have my parents talk to me about that. That's only in those inner circles. And even if you get money, you can be a rich black person with a lot of money, but then when you get into a circle with white people, they're still going to look down on you because you were not in the same areas as they were to know the small nuances of, having your pinky up or whatever type of ridiculous stuff that they want you to do. Whether it be having your pinky up when you drink, whether it be, pat each other on the back when you see each other, or standing up when somebody comes in the room. Just little things like that they expect you to, they know, and even though you have money and you don't know, they still look down on you. And I think that that's why there's always going to be that divide, or it'll be that divide for a very long time, because even though we have money, we're still going to experience racism from rich white people because we're not doing the thing that they find make them comfortable. So we'll go over this one more time. We got a rich black person is still below a rich white person, right? Even though they both have money, because money doesn't make them equal. It's the privilege and the class that makes them equal, and we don't have those. So then it would be the regular black guy. The rich black guy is above the regular white guy because he has more money than him and he has more privilege. He might even have more class, possibly, but he definitely has more money and privilege, and that puts him above the regular white guy. Then you have the regular white guy. Under him, or not even that, under him is a regular black guy, because the average white guy is going to have more money and more privilege just because he's white, and has money than the average black guy. And then you go down the ladder to where you get to black women who have been treated the least. Funny enough, I want to ask you. I seen this tweet today, right? I think it's ridiculous. And it's still recording. Do you feel like what do you feel about the term strong black woman? Like, what comes to mind when you hear that?
Like an image.
Okay.
What I think they look like, pretty much. That's pretty much it.
Okay. Because somebody had tweeted, I don't want to be strong no more. I want somebody to take care of me. And I feel like they were talking about the mental health of black women and how they don't want to be strong, I guess, for something.
They don't want to be strong?
They don't want to be viewed as strong because... And again, it's just a tweet, but I was curious what your opinion is on this. Let's have to find it again.
It's kind of weird because when you think about it, when people talk about women are supposed to be fragile.
Mm-hmm.
But black women are supposed to be strong.
Mm-hmm.
And we're also the angry and the aggressive ones, quote unquote. So it's kind of like, I don't think we asked to be strong, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty much, I think that's what they're talking about, that we don't ask to be strong, we have to be. So it's kind of like trying to make a compliment out of my circumstance.
Wish I could find the exact tweet because
because if I get pregnant and I have a son or a daughter, and let's say my baby daddy leaves, but I still have to provide for my son, I still have to do this, I still have to go to work, I still have to figure things out, as opposed to, I guess, maybe like a white counterpart, something like that maybe the dad wouldn't have left.
I can't find it.
Or something like that.
Because they were talking about the mental health of black women, and they feel like because they're supposed to be strong, they have to uphold everything. It's a large burden on them. And she was like, she tweeted something along the lines of, I want to be taken care of or cared for, something like that. I don't want to be strong no more, something like that. But I want to preference this with, I don't know who she is, so I don't know if she's strong at all to even make that statement. But thousands of people were retweeting and liking it, and also agreeing with what she was saying. So I'm just curious do you even think about that, like being a strong black woman? Did that ever cross your mind, having to be strong?
I don't think about it, but I'll hear it from people.
Mm-hmm.
Example, I was carrying the groceries home the other day.
Mm-hmm. Somebody said that?
Huh?
Somebody said that?
Yeah, so one person was like, oh, you're strong. I guess that's a physical thing because I'm carrying groceries, but I don't think it's only just that either. Or like when I would be when I was a supervisor at Starbucks and stuff like that, like they'll say little comments like that, like, or so
yeah, because I got the
strong, independent, all of that.
I got the feeling that you wanted help with the bags, right? From the people because you had said nobody was offering to help, but I felt like you really want somebody to help, even though you're making a joke out of it.
Huh?
I felt like you did.
I did.
Right, and
We're so heavy. My back is still sore.
But I mean, like, to me, I see that as a good thing, because it's like you build up strength to be able to survive by yourself. And this one thing I always have a dilemma with, where it's how do women want to be strong?
It's weird. It's a weird situation because I feel like innately you want someone to take care of you. You want someone to kind of wow you and show you things that you haven't experienced before. But at the same time, you also don't want to be, because like, I don't want to feel like I did when when we went to Italy, and I had no clue where we was going. I didn't feel like I had any control, or like I'm asking you constantly now, because I'm less strong and that takes my power away.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like, I'm pretty sure we want a balance of that, but I don't know what the perfect balance would be.
Yeah, that's what I'm always trying to think. Like, is it? I do think that it should be the man being stronger, right? I just don't know how much. I think the natural order of it should be somewhere, I don't know if it's 53, 47. I just know it's somewhere close to that. But because I do think that inherently girls want to be taken care of. But at the end of the day, listen, I'll lay on your lap, just be laying on your titties. You want to be just rub my head too. Like, I want to be taken care of as well. But I think that if you had to ask me, and this is me personally, because I don't know, I feel like Caribbean men prefer this a lot more, right? See nose flaring up. I feel like they want to be taken care of. And for me, if you ask me, if you want 100% be taken care of, or do you want 100% of responsibility, I would take the responsibility. If I had to choose one or the other, that's what I would choose. But I don't think girls would choose that. Like, which one do you think you would choose? If you had to choose 100% of one or other, either you taken care of, everything you do is taken care of, or you gotta do you have to be the one doing the taking care of.
I think that if I had to do 100% of the taking care, I feel like I wouldn't view my man as a man at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm taking care of you.
Yeah.
I'm your mom.
That's what I'm saying. So I feel like, but I don't get that. I don't feel like, if you gave me a choice to choose between the two, I would choose that one. But I don't want to be taking care of anybody. I don't want to be somebody's parent. But if I would rather be that than, can you help me? I don't want that. Like, I would not want that either. But I think that girls would be more comfortable in that role than we doing this and that, just like this, just like that, just like this. So, and that could be a personal thing, but I think it's more female male thing.
And I also think that probably the media might have a lot to do with that as well. Mm-hmm. Because when you look at like wealthy TV shows, or like how wealthy families are supposed to look, it's always the guy that's in charge, is working, that's doing this and doing that, and it's always the female that's at home and shopping all day, not really doing anything with her time. And I think that because that image is constantly shown to us, that's what we think a relationship is, or how it's supposed to be, where he's supposed to do all the things and I'm supposed to just kind of chill out and then get to play with the money and I guess have kids.
But it's the thing, I feel like is it chicken or egg? Did that come first and then they made more of it, or was it?
I think that it came from a time period where that's what it kind of was.
But even then, do you think that women? Because I think it's supposed to be men taking care of women more than the other way around, whether it be 51, 49, whatever. But I think what happened is they piled onto that. So it's not supposed to be the woman at home doing everything, taking care of the kids, cooking, cleaning, and she don't work, she don't do nothing. And I think they started leaning into that direction. It's supposed to be somewhere in the middle, but because it's not 50-50, I feel like guys said, oh, it's supposed to be 90-10 or 95-5. And I think that got perpetuated, and now it's like women just don't do nothing but,
Well, I wouldn't say all of that.
What would you say? What do you mean?
Women don't do nothing.
No. I'm saying that the perception is that women are supposed to just be.
Okay, the perception.
Yeah, it's supposed to just be, okay, you just a home wife. That's what you're supposed to do.
I mean, I think that people really take that to heart, that vision to heart.
Oh my God.
Because I remember, when we have company over, and I would feel like the company that we had kind of just thought that I was like there was no substance to me. And I thought I didn't like that.
Yeah.
That's part of it.
That's what I'm saying, because I think that if it was supposed to be that you were supposed to be like that, then that wouldn't bother you. But I think because somewhere in you're like, that's offensive, because that's not how it is. That's not true. I think that, or you view me as just being substanceless. And I think that the reason that offends you is because it's not supposed to be 95-5. 95.5 it sounds like that, where it's like you don't do nothing, you don't exist without a guy, and if the guy isn't there, you just fall and turn into a puddle of water or whatever else, girl turn into when they
whatever.
Maybe a bottle of perfume or some shit. I don't know.
But that's sexist.
Okay, my bad. A bottle
Gender.
of bricks. You want to be hard? You can turn to a bottle of bricks. Gangsters. Yeah, turn into some real, hard stuff. But yeah, I was just curious about that. That was not on the topic for today. I was just curious about that conversation. So also still doing a recap. Last episode. How much time is on there?
33.
Okay. I was explaining about why I think my dad died, right? And I'm going to just explain that thought a little bit more. So I think the universe works like this. I don't necessarily think there's a good or a bad. I think there's a truth and a lie. That's what I think, right? So I don't think the universe knows, oh, this is a good thing for somebody, this is a bad thing for somebody. But I do think there is a line that is tied to the truth, right? So with my dad, right? Let's say that he wanted to be. Let's say my dad. What happened? What happened?
I just wanted to see the battery life. The display, the button was pressed, so I couldn't see the battery.
So let's say that my dad said he wanted to live until 85, right? I think the universe would give him things that would allow him to live until 85 years old, right? Somebody would come to him and say, hey, you want to try drinking more water? Or, hey, have you thought about, exercising more? Have you thought about, getting outside, getting some more sun, right? And I think that's how the universe works. You tell it what you want, and then it'll give you what you want. Now, whether that's a good or bad thing is irrelevant, because the universe doesn't care about good or bad. It's just the truth first, and then it's what do you want on top of the truth. So I think in the long term, if you are going on the wrong path, that's not on truth, you're gonna fail at your vision, right? But I think that if you're going in the right direction and you're following the sign that you're supposed to be following, I don't think you can be stopped, because the truth is the only thing that can't be wrong. That's the only thing. Nothing else. If there's a truth, anything that's not the truth is what wrong is, right? So for my dad, what I think happened was, I think the universe was giving him signs to lead him away from his death, right? And I think that he was ignoring those signs. I think that things were coming up. I'm asking him, do you really want to go to the hospital? He's like, yes. His girlfriend's taking him to the hospital. I called him and I said, listen, they said don't go on the ventilator. I talked to somebody from my sister. She told me that she has a friend that works in I don't know what it's called for doctors who work on breathing, but she has a friend whose dad works there, and he says that ventilators are not the safest thing to go on. You can go on a CPAP or APAP or SPAP, something like that, right? Those are actually, they're less invasive and they're better for you. He didn't go on those, right? He was taking things from his girlfriend in terms of drinking and eating that weren't good for him. So I think that it's all of these different things that are happening. And I think that if he had decided to follow, and I'm pretty sure that he had an instinct, but his instinct, because it was already rooted in, I guess, wrong information, or he didn't follow his actual instinct enough to know which voice is the truth. And I think that once you practice it more and more, it becomes easier to figure out, okay, I'm actually going in the right direction, because I know what this voice sounds like. I know what it feels like to be going in the right direction. So I feel like for him, what he was doing was he was going in the wrong direction because he was listening to the wrong voices. And I think that he happened to die because, for me, he's going in the wrong direction already. So let's say he's going down, right? Let's say he's going down. And if every time that he gets asked a question, you want to go to the hospital? It's like, you should. I'm the universe. The universe is using me to talk to him. The universe is telling me, Donivan, ask him if he wants to go to the hospital or not. And I go, do you want to go to the hospital, Dad? He's like, yes. Wrong thing. He goes lower. It's like, okay, it's not nowhere near death, because there's a lot of things between here and death. Then it's like, okay, do you want to go on a ventilator or get a CPAP? Oh, I'm going to go to the ventilator. I'm like, you sure? Yeah. It goes like this, right? So then this keeps happening, and there's a lot of steps between where he started and ended up dying. There's a lot of steps between those two, right? And then I think what happened is, for me, if I'm following what the truth is and that the voice of truth, right? Then the universe is gonna go, okay, how can we help you to get to where you need to get to? And it's like, okay, well, he's already down here, not listening to what we're trying to talk to him and tell him, right? So if him dying makes you stronger or gets you further in your goals, that's what we're gonna do. Now, I don't think that he would have died if he would have listened to his truth. And if he did listen to, I think something would have happened to me that would have been traumatizing to get me to the next step in my life. Because I feel like when you overcome trauma, that's when you become stronger. And the universe, I'm doing everything right already, but the universe needs to do something to me for me to grow. And they say, okay, who's already down here that we can use to further your goals? It's like, okay, your dad is already not going in the right direction. We can use him as the catalyst for what you want to do. And I think that's why he ended up passing away and dying. That's what I think. So I wanted to go over that, explain a little bit deeper. I talked about racism being 50-50 and why we can't be equal until we are unequal. Why we can't be fair until we are unfair. I don't think I explained it enough or well enough before. So here's a better example of it, right? So me and Melissa talked about it, and I was able to kind of work out the kinks in it. So let's say you have a pie, right? You have one pizza pie. You got two people. You got a black guy and a white guy, right? The black guy comes in, the white guy comes in, eats the pie. He eats 6 out of the 8 pies, right? How much was that? No, he eats 5 out of the 8 pies. Slices.
Go with 10.
I think that's a good idea. That's why she's my girlfriend. So there's 10 slices of the pie, right? Now the white guy comes in and he eats 6 slices of the pie, right? That's 60% of the pie that he ate. Now the black guy comes in, it's only 4 slices left, right? So now the black guy had 40% of the pie, the black guy had 60% of the pie. A second pie comes in and the guy's like, yo, bro, we gotta be fair. That's not fair. We should both have 50%. The white guy goes, you know what? You're absolutely right. We should be fair. And he gives the guy 50% of the pie, which is 5 slices. Now they both have 5 slices, right? However, before that, the white guy took more of the pie than 50%. So now the only way for them to actually be fair is for the white guy to get a pie that only has 40%, because he still owes the black guy 2 slices. 2 slices? 2 slices, right? So in modern day terms, the white people have to lose something and give it to black people for everything to be fair. But they keep saying equality. It's not fair. 50%. And we have no problem with 50%. If all the pie that you took from us before is given back to us now. Give us all the pie that we already had before. Give that to us now, and we won't ask for no more from what you guys have. They will both be equal. Everybody will be fair. Everything will be I can't think of another word for fair and equal. Everything will be. What's another word for fair and equal?
Just.
So I gotta go. See, everything will be just, right? But the problem is that white people don't want to lose anything. They go, well, I don't think it's fair that I have to give up 40%, or I got to give 60% of my pie, or I have to give up 60% of my pie. I don't think that's fair. I think I should be able to have 50%. And it's like, well, your dad and your dad's dad and your grandfather's grandfather, they all were eating all the pie. Now, you can relate that pie to money, because that's pretty much how it works. So if you're into stocks and you know how interest works and compound interest, if you're building on top of that money over and over again, it's like, okay, if you multiply 10 by 5 and then you multiply when you use there's a math formula where you have the exclamation point.
Exclamation point?
Mm-hmm. Like if you do 5 exclamation point, I don't know what it means or what the word is, but if you do 5 exclamation point, that means 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. I don't know what it's called. It's a formula thing, right? Can you Google it? Find out what it's called. Just put 5 exclamation point. It'll come up, or put 5 exclamation point equals. And what is that called?
Factorial.
Yeah, factorial. So 5 factorial, right? So if now can you go back? 5 factorial, which is 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, is 120, right? Now can you do 4 factorial? Four factorial, right, is 24, right? And I feel like that's a perfect example of how this works. If we don't get that extra 5 that we were supposed to have, the difference in money is 120 to 24. And then when we go, hey, I think somebody owes us
Extra 1.
Extra 1? Extra 1 what?
You're supposed to have.
Extra 5.
Oh, that's right.
Because 24 times 5 is supposed to be 120, I think. Because the 1 wouldn't make it that.
Oh, I thought you meant the difference between 5 factorial and 1 factorial. Okay.
Yeah. That's perfect. That works too. Is that whatever, like, yeah, but it means 5 times 4 and then you don't have to, yeah. So that's how that works out. So when people say that we want what was owed to us, yes, you're going to lose what you have now because you have been taking more of the pie than we've been getting this whole time. So it will never be fair until we get back what was taken from us. And of course, white people are going to be very upset about this. But at the end of the day, we don't care, because if you got where you got because people were stealing for you, how can you think that it's fair to keep what you have? If you're on the street, right, and the people on the street will know this, if you buy a hot television, which means it was stolen, right? If I find out that you stole my television, there's no law that says I can't get my TV. You stole my television. And for me to get my television back, you have to lose a TV and the money that you spent on television. That's how that works, because you bought something that was stolen. You're reaping the benefits of something that was stolen. So for it to be fair, you have to give me back the TV and take the loss on the money that you spent on the television. And if you don't want that to happen, then you shouldn't reap the benefits of the stolen television. So there's that. Can you go back to the other one? So that was me explaining the 50-50. Alliyahsface. It's very weird. There's something off about her, and I don't know how to call it. It's off. It's not congruent. They're not equal. She seems confident, but she has plastic surgery, multiple plastic surgeries. So I don't feel like she can be a confident person. Okay. She just got a lip filler redone, and as you know, in the last podcast, I had talked about how when somebody wants to go and get plastic surgery, what's going to end up happening is that they're going to want to be perfect. They're going to keep going back to try and get it fixed because they feel like, oh, my left side of my lip is too big, the right side is too small, make the bottom one a little higher, and because they want in their mind to look perfect. But if you're having a human make something for you, it'll never be perfect. And if you're going to get these things done because you're trying to fuel or fill your insecurity or satisfy your insecurity, it's never going to fix the problem, because your insecurity comes from you doing the actual work to get it removed. It's self-esteem. You have to do work for yourself. You have to put in the actual work. If you want to, she was saying in some of her videos that she was going to the gym and she was losing her waist. And she felt like other people had a smaller waist than her, and she wanted to get a smaller waist. So she thought about going back to get surgery again, but she said she didn't do it. But she said she plateaued. And I'm like, there's no way you plateaued with the proper information. It's not like you're a bodybuilder. You probably weren't doing that much in the gym. I can't imagine that she was actually doing the homework and the research and the actual work to lose the weight that she wanted to lose. She probably was doing little things here and there and was like, oh my God, I don't know why I'm eating all this bullshit food and I go to the gym every day. I don't know why. Oh, yeah, facts. I don't know why I don't know why I'm not looking the way I want to look, right? So you know what she did? She went and she got a BBL, right? Which is, I think that's crazy. You letting somebody cut you open for what? For cut? Like, that's crazy to me. So, like I said, I don't think anybody should get plastic surgery. I'm telling you, I really believe there's gonna come a time where everybody got some white stuff in my mouth and I'm trying to clear it off and it's not going away.
Let's switch out the battery.
You better. Is it dying?
It's at 1 bar.
Oh, okay. Battery switch.
3, 2, 1.
So there's gonna come a time where everybody is over the plastic surgery thing, and I want to be one of the reasons or one of the stepping stones as to why people love themselves more and why people go out and put the work into themselves, because I feel like that can't be taken away from you. There's nothing that anybody can say to you to take away your self-esteem once you work for it. Once you've gone to the gym and actually done the work of learning, of crying, of bleeding, of hurting, of all those different types of things, nobody can take that from you. It builds a self-esteem. It builds a very strong foundation for you. But it's very easy, because your foundation is very weak, if you just went out one day and got somebody to give you a new butt. Because somebody can come to you and be like, yeah, I hear you, but that's not yours. So I don't care what you say. Like, you can't, you didn't put the work in for that. So I can't respect that you did that. And I honestly think that when you get a guy that wants to be with you and he is okay with that, I think there's a problem with both of you. Because I feel like I don't see how a confident person, a strong self-esteem would want to be with somebody like that, because it's going to show through. It's going to keep coming out over and over again. And with that situation, it's harder because you can't undo that. Like, certain things you can undo. You can't undo getting your butt cut open and liposuction and all types of stuff. It's just crazy. But the reason I'm bringing this up again is because in the last video I had said that it's never going to be perfect. And then a day or 2 or 3 later, she posted a video of how her lip filler is sagging and the person who did it the first time is not right. She does not like the way that they did it. She wants to get it fixed. So she's going to somebody else now to go and get that fixed. And I'm like, okay. And I did not know this, but you have to get your filler redone like every year or something like that. I had no idea it was that often. I didn't know this was a thing that you have to go and do regularly. So maybe for her it'll go away and she'll just decide, you know what, I'm fine with my lips, I'm okay with it. But I don't know about her Brazilian butt lift, and I think she got lipo too, because she felt like she just looks crazy. And then her face, and then she got her teeth. It's just a lot of stuff. I feel like it's just a lot. It's just a lot for me. And yeah, so every time I see that, it just makes me go damn. And she says a lot of things that I agree with, so that's why I kind of go like, how this doesn't make any sense to me. Yesterday she was talking about the same thing. Yesterday she was talking about how to fix yourself. It was a video that I watched from a year ago. She was talking about how to fix yourself, and you have to sit down and do an audit and go, okay, what do I not like about myself? What am I insecure about? And then go and work on those things. And I was like, yes, that's a fact. I agree with it. And she follows that up by saying, yeah, but I got plastic surgery on myself because I was going to the gym and it wasn't working. I plateaued so fast. I'm like, what do you mean you plateaued fast? It's not like you, what could you have possibly, like, what do you mean you plateaued fast? There's no way you plateaued fast. That's not even, where do you even get, what? Where did she even hear that from? So those kind of things annoy me when I see that. So, oh shit. All right, so that's about an hour in. Ooh, just gonna get my stretching on. I think I'm gonna make my recap shorter, maybe. I feel like that was mad long for a recap. So, but yeah, I feel like the podcast is definitely going in a good direction right now. I feel like, and I don't mean this one specifically, I just mean overall. I feel like, because I can look into the camera more often now. The other camera, looking into that lens was weird. Like, looking into this one, I don't know why. It just seems weird to stare into this one. But this one, I feel like I can look at it and be like, all right, we here, camera lens. Isn't it weird? This is unrelated to anything. But isn't it weird that we see the whole world as one, even though we have two eyes? Isn't that weird?
I don't know. I wonder if I don't know. Because I know that the way that our nose works, we have two nostrils, but they alternate smelling.
Mm-hmm.
So if you really wanted to smell something, you have to kind of move it back and forth underneath your nose because it's not smelling both things at the same time. So I wonder if our eyes work like that too.
And one of them shuts off?
Yeah, yeah. But if it's like so fast that we don't notice it, that's a possible guess. But I have no clue.
Because I was just thinking about how perception works of how we see things. I'm just like, I'm looking at, I'm like, why is it easier to look into this? Is it because it's only one lens?
Oh, it's probably because it's bigger.
That's what I was thinking too, because it's bigger. But I was just like, why does smaller make it weirder to look at?
Because your eyes have to do more work to pinpoint it.
And so, right? So I'm like, because it's bigger, maybe both of my eyes can pick up like half of it and it makes it one. And I'm like, that's just crazy to me because it's like, it's two eyeballs looking at the camera. So that just always blows my mind. I think about that kind of stuff. Okay. Okay, can you scroll? So I am going to yes, I'm gonna talk about this black thing. So as you know, they were having this. Oh man. Okay, so we are having this protest and stuff going on, right? And I have some problems with this, right? So I was talking to some of my white friends recently, right? And
You have white friends?
yeah, I was talking to them about this. And I was on the phone with one of them, and he was like, he doesn't think that we should be looting. There's other ways to do this. Looting is not the best way. And I had to explain to him, I'm like, yo, do you understand why we're looting? Like, we're looting because we're upset. And then the phone cut off, and I didn't call him back. Because I'm kind of like, whatever. I don't know if I hung up or he hung up. But then I saw him again in the city, and it was kind of awkward when I saw him. So I was like, all right, that's kind of weird. So he didn't understand it. And the fact that he didn't understand, I was just like, all right, you don't go through this, so you don't understand. So that's that. The other person, right, that I was talking to, my other white friend, we were texting, right? And we've been having some interesting texts over the last couple of days during this whole protest, right? So, where is he? So this is, I have a problem with this friend, right? So he tends to ask me questions as like an interview, right? And it's kind of like he will only do that when he feels as though, I guess he doesn't want to be offensive, or he's thinking about something he doesn't actually want to say. And that kind of annoys me because I prefer people to get straight to the point. I prefer, if you have something you don't like or something you feel, just say that thing. Just say, I don't like this. And we can talk about that, get it out the way, and then have a normal conversation. I strongly dislike if, an example of this. I make you a pie, and then I give you the pie, and you go, what you put in this? Go, blueberries. Oh, where you get the blueberries from? Costco. Which Costco? The one in Riverbank. Why you went to that one? Because it's close to my house. Where are blueberries from? I don't know, Florida. Which part of Florida? And it's just like, I don't know, Miami. Miami. And you like, what does that mean? I don't really like the blueberries. And you like, what? Because and I won't even get that far into it. I'll be so annoyed. I'm like, why are you asking me all these questions? But that is their way of trying to tell me they don't like it without saying it. So that kind of thing annoys me. So where you get this? Where's that from? Why are you doing it like this? Where's this? Just say I don't like the blueberries. I can go, damn, that's crazy. Maybe I'll buy some new ones. Or why don't you like the blueberries? Maybe you don't like blueberries. Maybe you don't like these blueberries. Maybe it's where they're from. Why don't you like these blueberries? But people tend to do that. And it's another term for that, I believe, is devil's advocate, which is why on the previous podcast I say I don't like people that say that term. Because if you feel a certain way, just say what you feel. And we can't get forward in our conversation if my premise of the conversation is that you're okay with what is happening. Or not okay with, if you're okay with what is happening, and I'm thinking you're okay with what is happening, but your actual foundation of what the conversation is I don't like what's happening, I'm going to be talking to you as though you are okay with what is happening. And the problem that you have will never be solved because it's never going to be addressed. Funny enough, this happened in the last week episode of Insecure, where it's, if you have a problem with somebody, say what the problem is. But if you guys are talking and hanging out, and one person thinks the problem is okay, but the other person is resentful because they're like, damn, this person don't even want to, they're not bringing it up. They're not saying nothing I don't understand. Or they're not saying how they feel. Then it becomes a problem because now that person feels like whenever the other person does something, it's malicious. Even though the other person assumes that you think everything is okay. So, that's just giving context to this conversation. So, he texted me and he said, I'm wondering, what are the expected results that people aim to gain from this? And what will make this any different than the previous times, right? Now, I interpret that as, I think what people are doing is dumb and they shouldn't do that. Why are they doing this if every other time this happened? That's how I interpret it, right? Because you have an idea and you're not saying the idea because you may feel as though that person that you're talking to, and me, which would be me in that case, would be offended by it. So you're going all the way around here, to end up at that point, right? So then he asked me, what do you think, right? Now, here's the thing about that. Another sign. There's two questions there, right? So I'm assuming he's trying to glean what my opinion is so that he can then make his opinion to me. And if I disagree with his opinion, then he won't say his opinion. Or he'll word it in a way that makes it look as though he doesn't really feel that way. I'm going to read it again so you guys have understanding. I'm wondering, what are the expected results that people aim to gain from this? And what will make this any different than in previous time? There's a question mark after that, right? So that you would think that's a question, but it's not really a question. He's saying they're not gonna gain anything from this. Why are they doing this? It happens all the time. Just stop doing this. It's not gonna change nothing. Don't do anything. Then he asked me, what do I think? Right now, I don't care about looting. Right? I don't care about things being burned down. I don't care about stores being broken into. I don't care about any of those things happening. The reason why is because people are upset. Right? Now, people think that, oh, that person is upset, so I'm going to get out of my house and go, you know what, that cop killed George, and I'm going to go and rob Nike because I'm going to run my reparations for George's death. And it's like, no, that's not how that works. That's not how the anger works. The anger works like this, right? It's, damn, they really out here wilding. I don't give a fuck no more. Like, as one of the ladies said recently, the social contract was broken. So I don't give a fuck about anything anymore. It's like, you want me to follow the laws when you're out here killing people. I don't care about that. I'm so angry. I'm going to do whatever I feel like doing because you guys don't care about us. You guys don't respect us. So I don't give a fuck what you think about me no more. I'm going to go and rob the store. I don't care. It's like, yo, y'all have these sneakers that cost $300 in the store. Y'all make me want to covet them my whole life. You tell me how great the sneakers are. You tell me how great the iPhone is, how great these clothing brands are. Of course, what I'm going to steal? I'm going to go and steal bubble gum. I'm not going to go and steal a microphone. I'm going to go and steal the things that you guys told me make me valuable. I'm going to steal some sneakers. I'm going to go with my friends. We're going to hang out. We're going to steal some Apple products. We're going to steal some, what else were they stealing when they were down there? Mostly clothes, which is funny to me. They're mostly stealing clothes. Ain't nobody breaking the Barnes & Noble. Ain't nobody breaking and be like, yo, bro, they got some books over. Honestly, that should have been fire. You know how many free books you could have got at Barnes & Noble? Bruh.
They broke in the Whole Foods.
Who broke in the Whole? Who stole what? What they stole the Whole Foods? Some organic apples? The whites broke into Whole Foods. So that's what I'm saying. People were stealing. The poor people probably were stealing. I'm gonna get to the white in a second. The poor black people were stealing clothes and stuff that people have told them their whole life will make them cool, make them valuable, make them important, make them feel like what you guys marketed them to feel. They'll get that when they steal these things. If you told them that reading the books would make them actually valuable, then Barnes & Noble would have no books in there right now. They would have robbed all of Barnes & Noble, right? And nobody would be like, I don't want these $400 fucking t-shirts. I'm not going to steal from Kith. I'm not going to steal from these Soho boutiques. I'm going to Barnes & Noble. I'm going to Whole Foods to get me some healthy food. I'm going to go and what should I steal from? Maybe give me some electronics. Ain't nobody steal no cameras. Who's stealing cameras? Bro, you could have got you a $3,000 DSLR. Y'all got $200 sneakers, bruh. You could have got you so many important things that maybe I think Best Buy got looted too, possibly. Y'all went to the wrong places, right? Y'all want to get these things, but that goes to show you who's stealing and what's important to them. Now they don't care about nothing because at the end of the day, nobody cares about them. So they go, you know what? I don't give a fuck. It's not a direct correlation to that person killed George Floyd. I'm gonna steal to show that I stand with George Floyd. No, it's you don't care about us. We don't give a fuck about you. So I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want to do. That's how that works, right? So my response to him was asking those questions lead me to believe you don't understand why this is happening, right? I said if someone spit on you and you decide to hit them, it is the same logic applied to what's happening here. And what my explanation for that was, or my reason behind that is, when you get upset, you just want to fight. You don't think of, damn, this person spit on me. Okay, so I think assault in New York is 2 years. I don't have any prior arrests. Okay, this person is white. Are there any cameras around here? Okay, I don't see any cameras. All right, are they okay? The spit is on me. Can I wipe it off? They might have a disease. Fuck. All right, should I get a napkin first? Fuck, should I take off my jacket before I hit them? You don't do any of that. You get upset and you want to fight. That's how it works. You just get upset. You see something happen, it makes you upset. You go, I'm going to just start wilding out. That's how people are acting. They're just getting upset. Now, the white people don't have the same issue honestly, no, let me not say that. They also have been marketed and told that these clothes make them valuable, which is stupid in the first place. However, their repercussions are very different, right? So, when a white person steals, they don't understand that it can result in their death. They think, oh my God, it's this. Sorry. That's a white people thing. I've seen videos of there was a white kid with an AK-47, MR-15 or one of them crazy ass guns. He found it on the floor at a protest. I think he was shooting into people's cars. Somebody ran up on him, a police officer who was working for the news station, ran up to him. Security for the news station, right? For the people. Ran up to him, disarmed the gun from him, and took the bullets out the gun, and told the kid was like, my bad, I didn't even do that. Now, in white culture, they think that once you say sorry, that means it's okay. Black people understand that saying sorry don't mean shit. If I get attacked by the police, and I'm like, and mind you, we'll say sorry if we're not even in the wrong. We'll be in the right and be like, yo, my bad. It was a stop sign, bro. I ain't even know mine ain't no stop sign back there. But you apologize just because you think it might help. White people they will do something illegal. They will have a gun, punch you in the face, steal from a store, get caught, and be like, my bad, officer. I just saw that they were stealing, so I came to steal too. I'll put it back if you want me to. All right, I'll put it back, and they go home and they be fine. A white person a black person could be walking by the store that got robbed and be like, damn, that shit's crazy, and get attacked by the police. Just because they're next to the store that got robbed. They're not even robbing. They be like, what happened? You stole from the store. And if you say sorry, now it's an admission of guilt. Now they use that to be like, oh, now I'm gonna really fuck you up. And that's a big difference between white and black people when they commit a crime. It's okay when a white person does it because the law enforcement goes, oh, they don't know any better. But the black people, that's probably how black women feel. The black people are supposed to know that this is a problem. You're supposed to know you shouldn't steal. You're supposed to be strong enough and smart enough to understand this is not what you're supposed to do. But white people are seen as children, little boys, and little girls, and it's, oh my God, I didn't know, I'm so sorry, officer, I apologize. Okay, Jimmy, don't do it again. I don't want to see you out here robbing. All right, I'm going home. And know what they do? They laugh on the way home. Whoo, that was crazy, man. And they laugh and they joke about it. Tell their kids a story where they robbed a store when they were 17 years old and the cops came. That ain't really what happened. They walked into a store, was hanging out with their friends, broke some glass. The cops came, told them to go home, and they went home. That's how their lives go, right? So that's me. I don't want to think about these white people who are out here robbing and looting shit too, because y'all not safe. I know what the fuck y'all be doing. Y'all out here using your privilege to steal shit. We're not gonna act like y'all not doing a lot of this bullshit ass stealing. So I said the wanted result is change, and people are upset over the fact that this keeps happening. What people gain from this is dependent on how far they're willing to go. They want the officer to get a justified conviction, and they want this to stop happening going forward. The difference between this time and last time, whether it was orchestrated or not, is that people are not working and have nowhere to go and nothing to do. So more people are watching what's going on and more people are involved, right? That's the only difference now, is that more people are just outside. These protests were happening before. This is not new. People have been marching in the streets all this time, but nobody's looting the stores because at whatever 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock, people are still working. People are still outside on the streets. People are still walking around, doing things, going places, whatever. Maybe there are clubs open at 1 o'clock in the morning. There are no clubs open now. There are no restaurants open. There are no retail stores open at this time. So nobody is there. That's one half of it too. Nobody is in the store. People are in the store now. No. Let me rephrase that. Nobody's in the store now. So it's easier to rob the store. Nobody's on the streets now. It's easier to rob the stores. Also, a lot of times, a lot of people before did not want to protest because they had a job to go to, whether it be in the morning, whether it be at night. They're like, you want me to go protest, bro? I'm going to lose my job if I'm out past 2 and I can't wake up in time. I'm not going to protest. So right now, it's a lot bigger and it's a lot more visible because more people are doing it because people have nothing to do. So that's what's happening. And it works in our favor in that sense because now everybody has to see it because nothing else is happening. You have to see that we are upset. Before, you could just be like, oh, they're protesting again. Make sure you guys only walk from 34th Street to 42nd, and that's it. Then you go home, and that was it. People walk a couple of blocks, you get some pictures, and then, somebody cheat on their wife on TMZ and CNN or something like that. That's how it goes. But now, there is nothing else happening in the world right now other than this. Like, this is the only... That's not true. This is the thing that is being the most televised right now because most people, most jobs are not active right now. You just have to sit at home on social media and look at this all day long. So, that was that. So then, he responded with, I don't know much of what's going on or who is involved. Then he said, the last sentence in your text explained the difference. And my last sentence was, the difference between this time and last time, whether it was orchestrated or not, is that people are not working and have nowhere to go. Nothing to do. So more people are watching what's going on and more people are involved. Right now, this is what I think when I read that message, right? He said the last sentence in your text explained the difference. So he's pretty much, by saying that, he's explaining to me that he doesn't understand that if someone spit on you, you would be upset also. He's not understanding that. I think he's trying to ignore that. He's seeing, oh, people are outside. Okay, I see a difference now. Right? White people. So, let's see what else happened. Because I'm still debating whether or not I haven't talked to him since then, and I'm debating if we should even be friends at this point. Because I'm like, I don't think we should. I don't think this is an ongoing thing where we have these kind of conversations. I have to keep explaining things to him over and over again. I'm kind of over it at this point. So then he texted me on Thursday. Today is Tuesday. He said, how has working in the city been for you over the past few days? So I'm like, yeah, I got into a little argument the first day of curfew, but today will be my first day out after the curfew since they changed it to 11. Well, to 8, right? Originally, the curfew was at 11 p.m. Then they moved it up to 8. So then he said, what was the argument about? He said, I read that essential workers and food and restaurants were exempt. He said, do you plan to stay out past 8? Right? So I go. My question to that is, when I first read it, I'm like, why is that question relevant? Am I planning to stay out past 8? You already said that I'm an essential worker. So if I want to stay out until 12 o'clock in the morning and shake my ass in the street, I have all right to do so. I am an essential worker. The law allows me to be outside. So I said, they blocked off the entrance to the train before the curfew started. Then they said I have to go around to the other entrance. So I went around, and cops are guarding that entrance when I try to go through. I think it's really strange, right? Because maybe I'm illiterate, right? But when I read things, right, people use commas, and I understand why they use commas. I'm like, I don't know where this pause when my sentences. I don't know where it's like, what do they call those things? An independent clause or a dependent clause. I don't know where the question mark's supposed to go. I'm just reading the whole thing, no inflection. It's crazy. So, okay, I'm gonna try to read this again. He said, do you plan to stay out past 8? I responded with, they blocked off the entrance to the train before the curfew started. Then they said, I have to go around to the other entrance. So I went around, and cops are guarding that entrance too. When I tried to go through, the cop put his hand on my chest and started screaming, asking me where I'm going. Right? And then I said, and yeah, I'm probably leaving around 9. Now, I usually leave around 9 o'clock every single day for work. Sometimes I stay till 9:30. If something happens, as far as I get a couple more orders and it's busy, I might stay until 10, but that's very rare. Right? So then he asked me, what was going through your mind when the cop put his hands on you and started screaming? Then he asked me, how did you handle that situation? I said, anger, because why are you asking me where I'm going? Why are you screaming, and why are you putting your hands on me? I said I calmed down, started ignoring him, and I started talking to another officer who did not help much either. Then the supervisor came up to the stairs and told me to go back around to where I came from. And she said, if they do not let me down the stairs, then I should get their name, come back around the corner, and she'll let me downstairs. She's trying to get me shot. Then he said, what did you take away from that experience, and how do you plan to avoid something like that from happening again tonight? This is my friend who's asking me these questions. I'm going to read that question again. Okay. My friend asked me, after I explained to him what just happened, he asked me, what did you take away from that experience, and how do you plan to avoid something like that from happening again tonight? So I sent him a meme, right? I'm gonna here's the meme that I sent him. Okay, this is me reading the message. That's me reading the message, right? Can you see it on the thing?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
You probably gonna have to put it on the screen.
I'm just gonna put it as a thing and then come back to this, right? So I said, cops ain't shit, and be prepared for them to do something stupid. Okay. I said, if you're asking how I plan on not getting harassed legally, going home before curfew, there is no solution for that other than do not go outside. And since that isn't happening, I'm bringing my GoPro and chest harness and goggles just in case they decide to go overboard. Then I said, what suggestions do you have? Because now I'm annoyed, right? I'm like, okay, but I want to make sure that I'm not doing too much. I want to see where he's at as far as what is it called? If I'm doing too much. So I said, what suggestion do you have to avoid something like that happening again tonight, right? He said, leave at 8. He goes, I thought about other things such as riding home or going to train stations that have higher foot traffic, but then I realized that you take the LRRR, right? So his suggestion was going to be go to a different train station, right? Than the 34th Street Penn Station. There are 2 train stations in Manhattan that are huge. The Penn Station and Grand Central. They are humongous. And probably Port Authority, but I don't think there's trains there. But it's also a big station.
There's trains, but
it's
not
an A.
those.
There's the A, C, and E, right?
Every train.
At Port Authority? Port Authority?
Yes.
There were 2?
Every train.
There's no train. There's no 2 at Port Authority.
Yes, there is.
No, there's
1,
not.
2, 3, all of it?
No.
Yes.
It's not. No, it's not.
Yes.
I can bet money it's not. No, it's not.
If it's not there, then it's at Grand Central. Because Grand Central is 42nd.
Yes. Port Authority, because Port Authority is on 42nd and 8th Avenue. So I'm like, the 2 doesn't run all the way over there. Like,
but
9th.
every other train, basically, I mean...
The 5 and 2 don't go over there. I don't think
the ACENQRW...
I don't think the D goes over there either, or the B.
Not the D, yeah.
Yeah, the Bronx trains don't go over there.
Bryant, they have the orange trains on Bryant Park.
Mm-hmm.
They have the red trains at...
That's the Bronx trains and Brooklyn trains. All right.
So the red and the green trains, that's at Grand Central. Mm-hmm. And then the yellow trains and the blue trains are at...
The ones I never take. Yeah, Port Authority. I never take those shits. So he's like... never take them shits. So he's suggesting I go to a different train station. Right? That was his suggestion. That was going to be his suggestion, is that I try and go to another train station. Even though I explained to him that I did nothing wrong already. I left, and I said this earlier in the message, I was leaving before curfew. Right? But he goes, go to a different train station. I go, okay. Then what else did he say? Oh no. So he said, go to a different train station, go to a different train station that have higher foot traffic, but then he realized that I already am going to Penn Station where there is mad people should be at anyways. He said riding home. Now, riding home, I live probably 15 miles from the city. So unless he was going to get my ass beat on the way home from work, I don't think that's the best idea either, because now I'm riding my bike at night through the boroughs. I have to ride from the city, through the borough, over the bridge, which before, a couple of days before this incident, they had trapped people on the bridge who were protesting. So God forbid I got trapped on the bridge. Now I'm definitely going to get my ass beat, or I'm going to be outside way past curfew, right? And I got to ride all the way through Queens, which I don't know very well because I don't ride through Queens. I gotta ride all the way through Queens to my house after curfew, or I have to maybe if I left early at 5 o'clock, because maybe that's what he wanted me to do. If I left at 5 o'clock, I will get home in time when the sun is still out, But I don't make any money. I go downtown for 6 hours, and I come back home to make no money. Play night for 6 hours. I go out from 1 to 5, 4 hours of work, and I go home. That's what he wanted. I don't know, right? So I'm like, if I leave at 8, I'm outside at 8, right? So I'm like, I can't leave at 8 o'clock because the curfew's at 8. So I'm going to be breaking the laws. That's the first thing, because he also recommended I leave at 8. I said, should I leave at 7 so I'm at home before 8? Is that when I should leave? I said, Ella de Ballar is at Penn Station. What station would you suggest with more foot traffic than Penn Station? Okay. I said also, riding home would mean I'm outside past 8 if I leave at 8. Some people probably don't understand this. I'm gonna break it down for you. Okay, so here's how like time works. All right, if I'm leaving at 8, I can't be home by 8. It don't work. It's 8, and then I leave. It's 8:01. That's after 8 o'clock. I can't be in the house before 8 if I leave at 8 o'clock. But this is my whole point about what I said earlier about people asking questions they don't want the answers to, because they actually have a foundation of they're thinking something completely different, and they're not telling you what they're thinking. They're not being honest with you. So they're going to ask you all these other questions and suggest things to you that don't make any sense. His thought process was, I'm in the wrong. That's what he's saying. What can I do different to not be in the wrong, even though I'm not in the wrong? Leave at 8 o'clock. Makes no fucking sense. So, what else? I said the day I left the city 3 days ago, the curfew was 10 or 11 o'clock. I left before 9, and I still had an incident at the train. Now, mind you, I also said this in the first messages when I said,
yeah, curfew was 11.
I said they blocked off the entrance to the train before the curfew started. Before there was the curfew, which was 11, I was going to the train. So they're already in the way of the train station. So honestly, there's no reason for you to ask me no questions. If I wanted to go downstairs and run around and dance by myself and do whatever I want to do, you can't. It's none of your damn business because there is no curfew. It's 9 o'clock. You don't ask me where you going. None of your fucking business. Don't worry about where I'm going. I'm going downstairs. I'm gonna go downstairs. And I'm gonna come back upstairs. I'm gonna go back downstairs. I'm gonna come back up here again. Cause you know why? It's 9 o'clock. It's not 11. I can do whatever the fuck I want to do before 11 o'clock, right? Legally. So I'm gonna go back to what I was saying before. This is the problem with white people. I'm telling you, this is the problem with them. So then okay. So I said the day I left the city 3 days ago, this curfew was 10 or 11. I left before 9, and I still had an incident at the train. Then he goes, this is his response to what I said. Because this is the whole point about people who be lying and coming up with fucking bullshit ass questions, right? Everything I would have said was irrelevant when I read your last text stating that you left before 9, which I already said before. Then he said, I didn't know you left early and still had that incident. As if I'm the problem. As if I'm the issue. Not the police. Me, who left before the curfew. But in his mind, that can't be what happened. You have to have done something wrong. There is no way that the cops would harass you for no reason. Why would they do that to you? That can't be how that works. I don't believe that. I don't believe that happened to you. All right, cool. So I said, either way, even if I left at 11:30, I'm an essential worker, which he also stated. So I'm legally allowed to be outside after curfew. So what is the conversation about? Why are we even having this conversation to begin with? I'm an essential worker, 1. I left before 11 o'clock, the curfew, 2. And I still had this incident, 3. I did nothing wrong at all. And I went to a train station that has foot traffic because he likes foot traffic. Is what would have saved me from getting my ass whooped by the police, right? So then he responded. Oh, yeah. He responded 20 minutes later. No. Almost an hour later. Right? So I said, either way, even if I left at 11:30, I'm an essential worker, so I'm legally allowed to be outside after curfew. He said, stay safe and aware out there. Right? I'm like, now, I want it to be, like, even reading it now, I want it to be very disrespectful. I'm like, I want to be so disrespectful. But I'm like, don't do it. I'm like, no. I'm like, and mind you, this not me saying this as like, oh, I'm holier than thou. Or I'm just saying that I felt so upset that my rage wanted to say the most disrespectful thing because I was hurt. I'm like, as my friend, this is what you think of me? Got you. So I want to be very disrespectful, but I'm like, it doesn't. I'm like, what do I get from that? Hurting him? So now I hurt him and I feel better possibly. I'm like, just don't say anything at all. Just leave it alone. Just don't say anything. Drop it. So that was that. So then he texted me, what's goody, bro? How are you? And how the rest of the week go? Right? And he called me a couple times, but I'm not responding to that shit. Right? Now, let me see. Oh. Both my friends are black. One is Caribbean. One is African. Okay? The phone call was with an African friend. The text was from a Caribbean friend. I know they thought it was a white guy. It wasn't. Okay? So, this is my problem that I have with this whole black, everybody want to be black, right? Spanish people are black. The people who are mixed are black. The Caribbeans are black. Africans are black. No, that's not the case, okay? Now, people have a problem with trying to segregate everybody and make one person black and make that person this and that and this, right? The problem is that it's okay that you're not seen as black. There's no problem not being seen as black. You're Hispanic, you're not black, right? You have the skin color of a black person, but you're not black. Now, I'm going to explain to you exactly why that is, right? The fact that when you pull up to a park and you can speak in Spanish to your Spanish friends and your Spanish family, and you have a Spanish culture that's tied to somewhere that's not here, that's what makes you not black. That's that is the essential reason, as to the essential difference between somebody who was born here and who was born somewhere else. It's tied to the culture that you have. So if you grew up in a Caribbean island, you grew up with a different culture than the people that grew up here. If you have family that raised you in the culture, like an African person who has Africa, who has direct ties to Africa, then you have that kind of culture. If you can talk to your friends, and I don't know African languages. I'm assuming Igbo was one. It's Nigerian African language. I don't know what they speak in Nigeria.
I think they speak English.
They don't have I thought they have an African language that they speak.
Maybe, because it's a country that can speak different languages.
Okay, so I know that there are different languages in Africa that they speak, right? In here, as a black person, we speak English. We don't have that connection. If I walk into a store and I see a person who's speaking French, who's African, I can't talk to him. That already separates us because we both are not from the same. We don't have the same background. We don't have the same culture. That's the difference. And people will also say it's a problem when you divide and things like that. When you, oh, this person is black, and Terry Crews said some stupid shit the other day about black supremacy and stupid shit like that. It has nothing to amongst us, amongst the people of this color that we look, or the oppressed people. We are black to other people, but amongst us, we know who's really black. There's no problem with not being black. Just because you're Hispanic and you look black and you have black friends, you're not black. But that does not mean that I won't fight for you. It does not mean that you won't fight for me. It just means that we're not the same. We deal with the same problems, but we are not the same. So I have a problem when I see people putting videos and post up like, oh, they had this little picture thing the other day where people would post, I'm a black man and this and that. And I'm like, you're not black. You're not black. Like, the fact that you have people that you can connect with and you have pride in something that's not here. Honestly, I mean, this could just be a personal thing, but yeah, I wouldn't know if that's true. Because I was going to say that we have been taught our whole life that being black is being insignificant. But if you're born somewhere else, if you have a culture that's tied in something else, then you can draw your pride from that place. If you can say, well, yeah, I'm here in America, but I know the people back in Africa are like this. I know people back in this island are like that. People back in Dominican Republic are like this. We were in Haiti. We were strong. We fought back. We had the revolution. We have all of those things, right? Or they have all those things to talk about. But if you have a black person, it's like, what does your history consist of? Honestly, we didn't really learn about nothing other than February. We learned that there's some people that made some inventions. We learned about for 4 weeks, and that's it. All the other 11 months is strictly white people are great at this. Black people are getting killed by this person. We got the movie Roots. We got all these slave movies. We got all these slave statues. We got slave museums. We got all types of slave shit here all over the place. That's the culture that we had to grow up in. The culture is you are less than. And if you try to go and think about, maybe I have African roots ties, some African culture. It's like, before this 23andMe thing, which who knows if it's true or not, how true it is, I don't know what part of Africa I'm from. If I pull up Africa right now, I'm like, I'm Nigerian. They'll be like, no, you're not. I'm Ghanaian. No, you're not. I'm from, no, you're not. How do I know where I'm from? Well, what language do you speak? English? Do you speak no language? Okay, do you know anything about us? No. Oh, well, yeah, you have the same skin color as us, but you're not one of us. That's how that works. So we go, okay. You go, okay. Where do I fit in? Because I know we have the same skin color, but clearly I'm not one of y'all. Clearly I don't have the same pride that you guys have. Clearly I don't have a language that you guys can connect with. We don't have any of that. So when somebody says, oh, I'm black, I'm like, are you really? This happened to me in a park the other, like a couple months ago, or maybe even last year or whatever. And this Hispanic kid was like, something about him being black. And I'm just like, you're not black. The fact that you speak, that you have family members that you speak Spanish to. And here's another thing too, because I had a conversation with police the other day, right? Because, is that even on there? Can you check those other things too? I had a conversation with police the other day, right? And I'm gonna get into that in detail more after this. But one thing that he has said in there, which I tend to see very often among people who are not born here, black people who are not born here, they tend to look down on the education system in America. For most, honestly, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go with black people, but they definitely love to say, well, when I was back in Africa, when I was back in St. Thomas, when I was in Jamaica, when I was in Barbados, or I was in this, whatever country they're from, they go, man, we learned all this stuff already. You don't know your presidents? You don't know geography? You don't know the history of, how do you not know these? You weren't doing math? I don't understand. Why don't you know these things, right? So they already come over here looking down on us because they feel like, oh, we're better than you because where I come from, we are taught at a higher level than you're taught at. And talking to the cop, I was asking them questions because I was like, I want to know what they think could fix these problems, right? And one person said education, but I can tell that he probably wasn't born here, because like I said, that's usually a trigger for me. I'll see it, I'm like, oh, as soon as someone says it in that way, with that condescending tone of, yeah, man, education here is terrible. You know, America has the worst education in the whole, or one of the worst educational systems in the whole entire world. Did you know that? And I'm just like, sure. Well, you want, I hear you, but it's not something that is something that was given to us. We didn't build our education system. I'm talking about black people. We were integrated into a white educational system, and then we were told we're going to learn the white history, and we're going to go forward with that. And every once in a while, we'll tell you a black slave broke free, Harriet Tubman, and she saved some other slave. Look at her. She's so brave and smart. And you have somebody like Frederick Douglass. Look at him. He was one of those black people that he became a teacher. He became a smart black person. Then you have somebody like maybe Martin Luther King. Well, he got shot being, too good. So we don't want you to be too progressive or liberate too many people. We just want you at the end of the day to remember that you're black in a white country, and don't forget that shit. But do know that sometimes a black person did one thing that was black that was kind of cool. Remember that shit. So that's why I get annoyed when I hear people say that they're black. Another thing too is, so another way that I can tell that people differentiate themselves between black people. I had this conversation with Melissa. I had a conversation with Hunter, right? And they both told me when they got rich, they're gonna take the money and help the people in Jamaica for Melissa and St. Thomas for Hunter, right? Now, that was the thing for me that made me realize, oh wow, like there's a very big difference here. People who are African, they give their money to the African family members who are in Africa who need money. And I was just like, yeah, we look the same. We have the same skin color, but your ties financially would be to the people that you grew up with, the people that you know of. That's who you would try and help. But for me, I grew up here, so I know what the problems that we have here are. But I'm like, damn, if they take the money and give it to other countries, who's going to give the money to the people that are here? Hold on, So that's one of the things for me that was just like, okay. I guess I get really annoyed when I hear people talk about everybody's black, and it's not even about being divisive either. It's more so about understanding that we're all different, but it does not mean we cannot fight for each other. And a perfect example of that would be your hand. You got 5 fingers. The thumb's not a pinky. The pinky isn't the middle finger. The ring finger isn't a pointer finger. They're all very different. And if you said, "Oh, this is my thumb," people would say, "No, that's not a thumb, but it's a finger, right?" Yes. They all have different uses. They all do different things, and they can all help each other. They don't have to be the same person. You would look really stupid if you're walking around with 4 pinkies or 5 pinkies on your hand. You would look dumb. But you have Spanish people who can help black people. You have Caribbeans who can help Africans. We can all help each other out, because if we all help people who look like us out, will end up doing better overall. But don't act like you're black. Let's not pretend like, oh, I'm black because my skin is black and I feel the same stuff that you go through. No, you don't. You go back to your family in the Heights where everybody's Hispanic. You go back to the place where everybody's African. You go back to the place where everybody has this culture. That's what you go back to. So it's not the same. Now, I had a conversation with the police the other day, right? Now, I don't like police officers at all. I am not a fan of them. I hate them. But this conversation was a very different perspective I had talking to them, right? So for me, drink some water. How much time is on there? Okay, so I took a delivery, right? And as I was riding away, I saw a cop in the car, and I'm looking at him. I'm just so disgusted by police officers at this point. I'm just looking at him like you piece of shit. That's something I'm like, you just a piece of shit. But I can't see. I see the car, and the car is what is making me have the image of a piece of shit. And I ride past the car, and it's a black guy in there, right? And I'm like, oh, shit, a black cop is in there. And he gave me like a black signal. He was like one of these, right? I was like, oh shit, that was like a black thing that he did. I'm like, okay, like Yo, I'm like this. It made me realize there are black people who work for the police force. Like they are also black. That's what I'm thinking. Like, damn. So how does that work? How do you guys deal with this? In my head, I'm thinking, I don't understand. So I took the order. I'm riding off, and I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I really want to talk to them. Like I want to ask them this question because I asked him this question because I don't understand what it is to be a cop. I don't understand what you guys go through. I don't understand what it feels like to be a cop right now with all the things that are going on. I just don't understand. But I was battling with myself to ask the cop the question, like, should I actually go and have this conversation? So I took another order and I'm sitting there like, you should do it. And funny enough, what came back to me or what I remembered was when I would talk to girls, right? You get that feeling of one of your friends say, yo, go talk to that girl, bro. And you like, yo, I'm gonna talk. I got that feeling. And I'm like, I felt this before. So I'm like, I know how to handle this. You have to just go and do it. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go. I'm like, I started like procrastinating. All right, if I get my order and it's going over here, I'm gonna take it. If I get this, I'm gonna take it then. But I'm like, Donivan, you're putting all these hurdles in the way so that you don't have to do it. And just go and talk to them. So I'm like, but I got my order and it's in my bag. It's gonna get cold. I'm like, fuck. I'm like, you gonna use that as an excuse? That's what you're gonna do? Are you gonna say to yourself, I didn't talk to the cops because I got my food and it's gonna get cold? I'm like, you'll gain more from talking to the cops. You've been laying orders before. Nothing's gonna happen. Just you'll benefit way more by having that conversation. So I rolled back over to the police officers, right? And I go up to the car and I ask him, roll his window down. I'm like, hey, like I want to ask you a question, right? He's like, oh, what's up? Now, like I said, I have in my entire life, I cannot think of one time that I have ever had a conversation with an officer that was not pertaining to where's the street at? Can I go down those steps? Or them harassing me. I've never had any conversation with them other than something like that. So my perception of them already is y'all ain't shit, y'all are pieces of shit, right? But I understand that they're still people, so I'm trying to be respectful as possible. So I'm talking to him, right? And I'm just like, hey, why'd you become a cop? I don't understand. Why would you become a cop? And you're black. Well, what is the purpose behind that, right? I think I told him about the black thing later. I initially just asked, why would you become a cop? And he said, to save people and protect people, right? That's what he said. And then he goes, yeah, everybody has their own reasonings, right? And then he asked the officer next to him, and lo and behold, it was a black woman. I'm like, oh shit, there's 2 black people in the car. I was not expecting that. So I'm like, okay, wow, this is gonna be great. I can get some insight into this. So he's like, yeah, to protect people. So she told me that her reason for becoming a cop was because I think she said either she just finished college or she didn't go. I think she said she was in college, didn't finish, something of that sort. And she has a child. They have a good pension. And he said it was around the time Obama became president, and she's been a cop. So I took that as it's a job to do. You get paid for it. They have good benefits. So I did it. That's how I took it that as, right? And to me, that's already a bad sign as for somebody to become a cop, right? That's for her reasoning. I'm like, I don't really think that's a good idea to become a cop. For him, I'm like, okay, you chose a cop profession to save people and protect them. I go, okay. So I asked him, have you ever saved anybody, protected anybody? Because I can't think of instances where you guys have done that, where you guys actually save people. I can't think of that. He was like, they kind of both laughed like, what? You know, we get calls all the time about these kind of things. And I'm just like, yeah, I know you get calls all the time, but do you guys actually save people? Like, when have you actually protected someone or stopped a crime from happening to somebody? And then he got out the car. He started talking to me, right? So this man got out the car. This man was probably like 5'5", and I was just like, "Oh fuck!" I'm like, "You one of them?" Because he was in the car. I thought he was like a regular, a cool black dude. Like I thought he had the swag of a black guy from the head nod. He got out the car and he was like 5'5", and I'm like, "Oh shit." So he's talking to me. He's like, yeah, we don't know what kind of calls we get all the time. Now, I'm aware of police officers getting crazy ass calls, right? Of them getting calls where somebody freaking is peeing behind a building, or somebody's outside having sex on the lawn, or this weird stuff they probably get calls for every single day. But what I did notice is that nobody from there, of those 2 officers, gave me a specific instance of a crime that they actually had to help somebody with. They didn't actually give me an example of how they actually saved somebody or did anything. So as I'm talking to him about this, she comes around the car. I see her getting ready to get out the car, right? Now, one thing I'm very aware of, right? When I get to talking about what I'm passionate about, see, the eyes open up, you see? When I get to talking about what I'm passionate about, right, I understand that girls get turned on, okay? I understand that once I start speaking my mind and how I want to change the world, girls start smiling and girls start getting wet and they go, oh my God, listen to him. Look how he's so passionate and ambitious about what he wants to do. So I can see it in her eyes that she wanted to get out the car. I saw her like twirling her hair, getting restless in the seat because he got out the car. So now she's kind of talking to me across the seat. So I could see that like, wow, she's like, oh, I want to get in on this. So she gets out the car, but I can tell she's still like, damn, should I get out? I don't want to be too thirsty. But we are having a conversation, so I'm going to get out the car. So I see her, she get out the car, comes around. She's doing that little like stroll that girls do, and guys do it too. Where they don't want you to know that they feeling you, but they just kind of like, I'm going to act like I'm not. Yeah, I'm just going to slide over here real cool. Like, oh, what are you talking about, right? She's doing that. So I'm like, okay, I see what's happening here, right? So we're having this conversation. And some of the things that we touched on was how they can solve this problem, because I told them that my experience with cops has never been good, and they asked me what I've dealt with, and I told them when I've been harassed by the police when they came in my car and searched it for no reason. I had since when I was in college, and when the cops came and arrested me for my bicycle. I had a situation that I explained to her when I was 9, which I've said before, where some kids at the park were harassing me and they were throwing water balloons at me and my dog and my friend. They were 16. I was probably like 9. So they were like pelting me with water balloons. And we're getting wet. They're hitting us in the face and this, all types of stuff, right? And at 9, I'm thinking, oh, I'm in, they're being mean to me or they're hurting me. I should call the police because the police are your protector and the saviors. They're the superheroes. That's what you think as a kid. You're like, oh, police come and save you and help you. So I called the police. And they said 2 women, right? The women strolled into the park. They kind of just like, all right, what's happening? They like, what's happening? The kids ran off. So my dad comes to the park. He chases after the kids. Now I'm thinking, this is what I'm telling the cops. I'm thinking that's what the cop is supposed to do. I'm thinking the cop is supposed to go and chase after the people, not my dad. So the lady asked me, the cop during this conversation, she asked me, well, what did you want them to do? And I was like, I'm like, I don't know. I thought at 9, you don't know what they're supposed to do. You just think I'm in danger. Call the police. They make the danger go away. But her question made me realize that if they called her for that, she wouldn't know what to do either. There's no training for that. It's just, she's like, what did you want us to do? And this whole conversation that I had with them really opened my eyes a lot to how cops are. And I explained the same thing to her, which was, I don't know what I wanted them to do. I just wanted them to do something. So then also that guy brought up the conversation about, or the topic of the education system is the problem here, and that's why we have these issues. He made some comments that I felt were kind of weird. It was 2 weird comments that I didn't really understand. One of them, he started starting to get annoyed. That's what he said. I don't know what the context was to that. I don't know if he was talking about what we were talking about or something else. Because then afterwards, I was about to leave. So I'm like, okay, what do you guys each think could fix these problems? And now thinking back on it, I'm wondering if they didn't think there's a problem. Like, I don't think that they think there's an actual problem with the system of how things are working. I think that they think that everything is fine. And I was just very surprised by that, because I'm like, wow, they don't think that anything needs to be fixed. And I'm like, if you guys don't think that things need to be fixed, things will not get fixed. So when I asked that question, as I was about to leave, he goes, I already answered that. So I'm taken back. I'm like, all right, cool. But I'm like, that response to me was kind of odd. So I'll go to her and ask her, what does she think? And then as I'm asking her, he cuts off and starts saying, I think they should do this and this and that and this and that and this and that. And I'm like, then he kind of put it on the educational system. He said he feels like the education should be fixed here in America. And that's the problem. It's the education. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. Like, education is a problem, because if you have a person who is not educated and they go out and they try and they come in contact with a cop, they're not gonna know how to act. They don't know the laws of the police officer. They don't know how things work. They don't know psychology. They don't know emotion. They don't know any. They can't read the room properly. A lot of things they can't do. So when they run into a cop, the first thing they're gonna do is start screaming and yelling and becoming belligerent and running off and all types of things, right? Because they do not understand how this interaction works or that this dynamic works. So I understand that education is a problem, but I also believe that if a uneducated person runs into a cop who is poorly trained or also uneducated himself, it's going to make for a problem, because an uneducated person is still unlikely to really do anything to a cop. He might curse and scream and yell, but an uneducated cop and poorly trained does not know how to de-escalate the situation. And it's on him because he took that job. It's on them to learn how to de-escalate a problem. It's not on the person being arrested or being detained to understand the laws. It would help them, but it's not on them to know that. It's on the police officers. That's their job. But through that conversation, I realized that they don't take their job that seriously. They take their job as like, I'm here to do my job. I'll go home from it, and that's what it is. I think that there should be a height requirement for all cops. It should be 6'2.5" for men. I think for women it should be 5'9", and I think that neither one of the women should be the women should not be under 180, and I don't think that the guy should be under 200 pounds. So you have to be 200 pounds, 6'2" and up, and you have to be a woman who is 180 and up. That's what I think. Or 5'9". I think 160 to 180 is good for a woman. 165 to 180 is good, but you have to be imposing. You have to, when I see you, I have to think, okay, you can protect somebody, you can save somebody. I don't want to see, like I've seen pictures online now, you have a cop who's 5'3", can barely wear their clothes. It's like all you're gonna do is reinforce the problems that we already have, which the women and the guys feel scared, they feel insecure, they feel small. So you already small and feel small. You do not need to be in a position or a job that would increase your fear when somebody walks past you who's taller than you. When you're trying to arrest somebody, you don't want to increase that. I don't want to make you more upset. So I feel like you should be a certain height for that. Or you definitely should not be on the field. So also, they said that, now listen to this, right? They said that, take a water break. What's the time? Cold or tired? Oh yeah. I see your head off the side of the couch. So they asked me where I'm from, right? And I said I live in Jamaica. And they said, okay, well, that's where you're from? I'm like, no, I'm from the Bronx. They were like, you're from the Bronx? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh, nah, the Bronx is crazy. Now, that's a red flag for me. Immediately a red flag, because you are a cop. You shouldn't be scared of boroughs. That's the thing that people on Twitter do. Like, as a cop, you shouldn't be afraid, and you're a cop. So you're supposed to keep order. You can't be afraid of a borough. You should have more insight to the borough than anybody else. So, well, maybe not, but you should know a lot about the borough. So they were like, yeah, man, the Bronx is crazy. They're like, the South Bronx is crazy. Morris Park is crazy. They said, where else did they say? Fordham Road, they said, is crazy. And they said another part of the South Bronx where the prostitutes, they made a joke about getting prostitutes. Oh, no. I said, wow. Yeah, it's crazy. Now I think about it. Yeah. Oh, man. Because I feel annoyed with myself because there was a joke that wasn't a joke. Because I was explaining, I'm like, yeah, I don't really live in those areas. And I'm like, for me, and they said the Grand Concourse and in that area, right? Now, for me, from the Bronx, the only areas that I would consider dangerous would be over there by Yankee Stadium. Somewhere in that area. It's kind of dangerous based off of stuff I've seen and experienced through that area, right? It's very dimly lit at night. There aren't a lot of lights and a lot of things happen over there. And maybe the South Bronx, parts of the South Bronx, but everything else he said Fordham. I'm like, maybe, I guess I wouldn't. I mean, not more than another place. It's not crazy, but you can't walk through there. I mean, they have Fordham College universities over there. They got it's really rare that they would even say that. They said Morris Park. I'm like, maybe. I guess some things happen on Morris Park, but I'm like, yeah, I live on 241st. Or I live near 241st in that area. And they were like, oh yeah, where the prostitutes are at. I'm like, the prostitutes. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I know what you're talking about, but I don't not that area, but I know what you're talking about. But everything they said about the Bronx was like how bad it was. And I'm just like, then one of the female officer made a comment about how when she rides through there really fast because she doesn't want to get stopped or she doesn't want to stop in the Bronx. And I'm like, my brain is trying to understand what I'm hearing right now because I'm like, you're a cop, you're afraid to ride through a borough, and you talking about you ride through there fast and you don't want to stop, you don't slow down. And I'm just like, how can I expect you to save anybody in the Bronx if you're afraid to even come through the Bronx to save somebody? I was like, oh my God. I'm like, I see the problem. I'm like, I understand what's happening and I understand why all these things are a problem. And I also figured out that what I'm doing right now and my plan that I have going forward is gonna work because it takes into account these things. I didn't learn anything necessarily new. It just reinforced what I already thought about these problems. So I'm like, oh shit, I know how to fix these. It's a fear problem and it's a lack of information problem, and it's a problem that's given to them, right? So one other thing I asked about this is another thing that really, this is probably the most important thing of that conversation, right? I asked, what do you think could be a solution for this? Because one of the solutions that I think would solve this is that if you have police officers serve in the areas that they live in, right? And the woman said to me that is dangerous because if you arrest somebody and you live next door to them, they might do something to you. I was like, wow. I'm like, they tell you guys that? Is that what they say in the force? Is that what I'm like, because in my mind, if you know the people that you're arresting, I believe it's less likely that the crimes will be, I believe it's less likely that the crimes would be as violent. Is the camera still on? Melissa. Is the camera on?
Yes.
Okay, so I do a thing. That's
yes.
what. Okay. What was I gonna say? So, yeah, I would think that the crimes would be a lot less violent because you know the people. So when you see somebody, you're like, "Yo, Travis, what are you doing? Like, I see you. Why are you robbing? I'm gonna call your mom. What are you doing? Get out of here." The same way the white people treat their white people when they arrest them will be the same way that people from the community treat their friends. It's like, bruh, would you put the apple back in the store and stop? What are you stealing the apple for? Put that back. Who stole it? What he look like? I'll be right back. He's probably playing basketball at the park. I'm gonna go get him. Come over here. Now apologize to this owner of this store and explain to him why this is that and the third. And I want you to buy 3 more apples because you shouldn't have been stealing in the first place. You have that communication. But she's afraid that, and I think he kind of agreed with it, that it's dangerous for them to live near each other. And I'm like, I would only tell somebody that if I wanted them to be afraid of serving in their own community, even though I believe that would actually be better for them. Because what are the odds that you're going to arrest somebody that you know and that they're going to attack you? 1, you're a cop. 2, you know who they are. And 3, you probably won't be attacking them as violently. However, do you know what it does make sense to do and have somebody who's not in the community to police that community? It allows them to be more violent because I have no attachment to you. I have no emotional connection with you. I don't know you. You don't look like me. So when I pull up in the store or I pull up somewhere else, I can just go, oh, you stealing? I'm going to beat your ass because you're a criminal. As opposed to understanding that person's environment. And I think that is a very huge problem. And I don't know where that came from or why they think that, but it sounds like somebody told her that. She's like, what if I live next door to somebody and I arrest them? And I'm like, if you don't viciously arrest them, they won't be mad at you when you come home. That won't happen. And it's like, what are the odds of you arresting somebody that you live next door to? And she was like, yeah, they're going to know where you live. They can follow you home and things like that. But I'm like, if my job is to enforce the law and you're breaking the law and I know you know you should be breaking the law. You know if I catch you and put you in jail. Don't do it. I will put you in jail if I catch you breaking these laws or too severe laws. Because at the end of the day, a lot of laws are stupid. Jaywalking is a law, right? But a white cop may arrest a black cop or a black person for jaywalk if they feel like it. They may detain them. They may harass them just for that. And they will say it's because they were breaking the law. But a black person will see a black person and be like, bro, I'm not about to waste my time on somebody crossing the street in the middle of the street because jaywalking is illegal. No. But because it is a law, it gives the power to the white cops to have a reason to harass you. So there's that. He also told me that the cops' force is only like 2% black. And one of the problems I have too is that I feel that black people should become cops. The reason I feel like that is it's a really kind of complicated thing. I think that we don't have enough black people in the force to make it to become helpful. I think that the ones that we do have still have the ability to be whitewashed because they don't have enough people to look around to and see that they can connect with. So I think that it is good to have black cops, but it annoys me that we have to go through this. But it's just the beginning of it. It's like the same thing with having a podcast. When you start something off, it's going to have problems. And it's the same thing with, I believe, with having black police officers. The more you have, the better it'll get. The less you have, the worse it'll get. Imagine if we had no black cops right now at all, 0 black cops. We would have even less than a little power that we do have right now. So I think that we have to just wait or either have more black people become cops or train them better or things like that. But I also think that you should only police in your area. That is it. Don't police nowhere else but your area. So we talked about that. And then, like I said, she was coming on to me too. I listened. She saw me talking. She was just like, "Oh my God!" Like, I saw her twirling her hair. She was standing next to me. I could see. I'm like, and it was so crazy because I've never even thought of myself of like, I've never really seen cops as people necessarily. I just kind of see them as people who do ain't shit stuff. But I'm like, I could probably bag her. I'm like, what the? I'm like, Donivan, you could bag a cop? I'm like, what the fuck did you tell? I'm like, but I see all the signs. I see her flirting. I see her doing things and coming closer to me and playing with her hair and something called preening, where she tries like, it's like fixing yourself up. It's a term they use in the game. And I'm just like, I can see her getting attracted to me. And then she made a statement like, what's going on in that brain of yours? And I was like, oh, that's a compliment. I'm like, oh, she's really feeling the guy. Like, she's feeling me. Like, oh, okay. But, like I said, I have a beautiful girlfriend who I love very much. And she's actually gorgeous. And she's sleeping right now. She looks so cute. I'm going to take a picture of her. She don't wake up. How'd she wake up? How the fuck? What the fuck did I say? How'd she wake up? I said, oh, she'll wake up. Now she looked at me with it. What the fuck? You looking at me like that? Like you, Jesus. Okay, I'm almost done. Damn, I'm probably not almost done. Scroll all the way down. That's it? Oh, okay. Alright, probably done in 15 minutes. I think I should be done in 15 minutes. 2 hours exactly, or?
Probably a little bit less than that. She was in the bathroom.
Okay, cool. Alright, so I actually hate this part of the podcast, but I feel like I want to say more, but it's about to be done. But I feel like I have no time constraint, so I'm gonna just keep talking. But I don't want it to be 3 hours. I don't want to be doing that. So I gotta learn how to be more concise in my thoughts a little bit more, not too much, just a little bit. Like I said, what's that thing called? The recap should not have been an hour long. That's mad long. But some of my thoughts today that I had came from listening to the Eric Thomas podcast. I haven't listened to it in a very long time. I probably won't listen to it again for a long time. But the reason I chose to listen to that specific episode is because Jamal King, the guy I'm going to sign up for, real estate course. Talk about that later. He used to be a cop, and he's black. And he was talking about how his parents made him become a cop so that he could understand what it's like to deal with racism. So they put him in a white school at a very young age, and they used to say to him, they used to chant, what was it? Fight a nigger, fight a nigger. That's what he used to chant every day before school. And he said every day before school he had to fight before he went to class. That's what they did. It was like the white guys tried to fight him, and they would chant that, and he had to fight every day. So, and he became a cop after that. And he said on the cop force, everybody was white. And he was crying, well, he was starting to cry because he was just talking about what it's like to deal with it. Even though he was a cop, he had a situation where he got pulled over by a cop, and the cop still harassed him. And he said he's a cop, and the cop said, I don't give a fuck about that. I got a white shirt, you got a blue shirt, shut up, don't talk to me when I talk to you, ask the questions, right? And I'm just like, damn, like, you and he said his family was cops, but like I said, we need a seat at the table. Two ways to get that is by having a lot of people or by having a lot of money. I think a lot of money can help to persuade a lot of people because you can pay people to do things. So you can have multiple people assigned to be police officers. You can have different things like that. But he became a multimillionaire while being at the force, doing other things outside of that. So, because like I said in the last podcast, I was just upset. I'm like, why would he be a cop? I don't fucking understand. And then boom, podcast comes out. He explains it. Laws of attraction, universe. Listen to it. So yeah. And then what was I saying? So he just explained his story about being a cop and what it was like going through that. And like I said, that conversation really taught me with the two police officers. It really taught me that they are people. They're very scared. Like when a lot of them, or the ones that I talked to, they actually seem scared. Oh, one thing I forgot too. The cop, the black cop, the guy, he said that he went to a protest, right? And he said that, my back is crazy. My traps are on fire. I don't know what it is. My traps are. I think I'm too low. My head getting cut off. Okay. Is there still space above my head, like negative space? No space above my head. I can't go any lower than this. So he said while he was at the protest, he received 2 comments from protesters, right? And the protesters said to him, "You're a fucking sellout. You're a coon," right? And then he also said that another protester said, "I hope that your granddaughters get raped since you were out here cooning and selling out black people." And I can tell that he was hurt by that. Like he was like hurt and upset. Like, why would they say that to me? Like, I don't understand why they would say that to me. And to me, the fact that he didn't understand that, why they would say that to him, shows me the emotional IQ of police officers, because that statement is so aggressive that for me it would instantly trigger it would trigger a red flag in my head to let me know, oh, this person is trying to hurt me because they feel so much pain. That's how I would look at it. But he didn't know that. And I think he took it literally. I think he literally took it as, I hope somebody catches your daughter or your granddaughter and rapes them. And I don't think that's what people mean when they say that, or when they say that to him. Because as he said that, I wanted to say, I would say the same thing. Because I would say the same thing. But not because I want that to happen. But I want you to feel the pain that I feel. So the only way that I can actually make you feel what I'm feeling is to put an image in your head that hurts you so much that you now understand why I'm upset. You can look at me, and now when I look at you in your face and I see that you squint and I see that you get upset and your nose wrinkle up, I know that you're mad. And that's what I want. I want you to be as mad as I am because you made me this mad. I got mad because of what people that look like you do. So that's why when I heard that from him, I'm like, wow, you guys really, they don't train you guys intellectually. They don't test your IQ in terms of emotionally. They don't do these things. And I've actually heard different times that they will put police officers, they choose officers who have who are easily manipulated as police officers because They want you to be a cop so they can tell you what to do. They want you to be a cop so that they can tell you lies and you can believe them. That's what they want you to be a cop for. And the people who have higher IQs become detectives, they become sergeants, they become the higher levels of police officers. And I actually saw that. Now with her, she was actually afraid. I could see it from her. But from him, I felt like he had that, well, how would you call that? He reminded me of my sister's boyfriend too. I wonder if he was Haitian, because I don't know. I feel like sometimes when I deal with Haitians, they become too insecure to me, and it bothers me. So I'm like, bro, I'm not trying to argue with you. Like, I'm trying to have a conversation. Why do you think I'm attacking you? I'm just having a regular conversation. That's it. And I felt like he was kind of feeling like that. And like I said, he just didn't understand that people are hurt by what's happening. And he was actually hurt by it. But what that showed me is that he would probably take that out on somebody else subconsciously, because he thinks that they're being honest. So if somebody came to him and said, I hope somebody rapes your daughter, he thinks that somebody is going to rape his daughter. So he's going to take that out on somebody else when he has the opportunity to do so. He's going to go out and be extra aggressive because somebody told him earlier, hey, your daughter should get raped or whatever. So, like I said, I think that that's very important to realize. Like I said, I'm really confident that I have the ability to change a lot of these things. Not now, but in the future, because I understand what that showed me was I definitely understand the plight of police officers. Like, I get it. Like, I understand. No, I believe from what I talked to them, what I thought before was right. So I think that the solution that I have to fix it would help them and us and our dynamic and our relationship that we have with them. So I think that's all we talked about with them. Oh, can you turn the TV back on? Babe. Wow, should I respond to babe no more? It's been so long. Babe. I said it twice. You didn't even hear me. That's crazy. Melissa. That's crazy. That means it's been a long time since I said that. I called you babe twice. You didn't even hear me. That's how I know that you don't respond to babe no more. That's crazy. So I'm about to be done. Yeah, I'm just gonna go through some bullet points real quick of things that happened to me during the week. I had a conversation about rugby with somebody. He asked me, is a white guy, asked me about rugby, and I can tell that it was so funny because he didn't think I played rugby, which I don't. My ex-girlfriend did. Whoa, I'm wilding. I said that out loud. That's not the case. I said that to him, but one of my, I guess, whatever. Somebody I used to talk to played rugby. I'm wearing a shirt, and people don't think that black people play rugby, so we had a connection through rugby, and I can see that he viewed me differently after talking about rugby. But it's funny because I think that he thought I tried to racialize it when I said that my favorite team, or like team I know of the most, is the All Blacks. He was like, whoa. He was like, what? I don't have the name of them. Like, I think they called the All Blacks. He was like, I could tell he's uncomfortable with that because he didn't really want to say anything, but I'm pretty sure the name of the team is All Blacks, and they were all black, but they're not actually black. They're from New Zealand. But when he finds it out, he'll realize that I wasn't actually being racist or anything. Not racist. I wasn't being racial. I like them because they're the best team, and they're very energized when they do their, I think it's called a haka or some shit. Stores that say we support Black lives is stupid. I think that is defeating the cause. I feel like every store will put it up on their store just because it's a sign, oh, we support Black Lives Matter. If you really want to support Black Lives Matter and you don't want your store to be looted, put on the store, we do not support police officers. I guarantee you, your store will be protected. If you put on your store, we don't like cops eating here, I can guarantee you your store will probably be safe from anything happening to it. What else? And let's see. Yeah. So I wanted to go over my stocks. I just want to put that out there too. I know I talked about it before. Right now it is $258 on June 9th. My stock's a little red right now, but they were up earlier, like yesterday. But I put $3,000 into Fidelity, and right now I am at $5,259. So that means I made $2,200 in Fidelity. I didn't do anything to it. I just put it in there. I invested in airlines. I invested in Spirit, American Airlines, United Airlines, and the goal is to flip the money to at least 10,000 or so. It might double. Right now it's at 5,200. I'm pretty sure it'll go to 6, which will be doubling it. If it triples, that'd be great. If quadruple, that's even better. And I'm gonna take that money, go to Jamal King, pay for the course to buy a rental property or an investment property so I can rent it out and get income that comes in that saves me 1 week of working every month. So I don't have to work. I can take that time and reinvest it into myself and build up the brand and build up my relationship with my girlfriend who I love so much. We can go on vacation or something, or like go on dates and shit. Cause I have a week off. I don't gotta do shit. I make money. I can go on dates. We don't be going on dates that much. We don't be doing nothing. Honestly, we're very dirty too. I don't be showering. She don't be showering. Well, I shower now more, but she don't be showering that much. So, but Bamboo Project out.
I shower.